everybody, and welcome back to another video. Now today I'm going to be showing you guys this Godzilla tier list. Now we're going to be going in all the Godzilla designs, and I'm going to be rating them on this tier list. Now let's get started with first Showa Goji, in other words, the original from 1954. Now, I'm going to have to go by design-wise an A. I think they did lots of detail on that design, and unlike a lot of the other Showa era, they actually put, I think, lots of thought into the design, actually tried making it well, and said, if this guy's a dinosaur, how about we make him dinosaur-like, and kind of combine lots of features of other dinosaurs. Now, the second Godzilla from 1955, I think is a B. I think they still kind of did a somewhat good job thinking on what they're going to do for the design, but not good enough to where I'm going to be sitting here and saying this is such a good design and this is awesome. So I'm going to still have to rate that a B tier because it's not as good as the other one, and I think it looks a little weird and wonky. Now, for 1962, King Goji, I think this is another A. I think this is like maybe last of the Showa era, where I think they put lots of thought into the design. Now, 1964 is going to have to be a B. I still think that the design's a little bit weird, and I don't think it looks like that great. But it's okay, but it's definitely behind 1955. Like, 1955 is slightly better than 1964. Now we're at 1965. That, I want to say, is around similar. It's not that great. They didn't put too much detail into it. It's not my thing, so I'm not going to be rating it very high. So, that one is not going to get as high as the list because it looks similar to 1964 and it's not my thing. Now next we have 1967. That is going straight into D tier. That thing looks disgusting. I do not like it. It looks like a frog combined with, like, trash. If you, added those two up, and then, a dinosaur, you get that Godzilla. That Godzilla is absolutely trash looking, and the movie isn't that great either. So, that is definitely going down in D tier. That is the worst of the worst, probably on this entire list. And, sorry, that's gone down. 1968 is the same design through 1969, 1971, 1972. And that design is going to go in B, but it's better, I think, than 1964 and stuff. So it's going to be, it's probably the best, actually, in the B era, on the B tier. It's probably the best one, so I'm going to have to move it up to the best one there. It looks somewhat kind of good-ish, but not really for the Showa era. It's not that great, but it's pretty good, and it is definitely better than all the other ones we've put so far in B. They did put some thought into the design. They kind of broke away from that 1967 look that looked like, I don't even know. So that was always pretty good. 1973 is going to also have to go in B tier behind 1968 because that design looks, I don't know, like if you took a pig and a dinosaur and then kind of made it like that, the face looks just like a pig almost. And I don't know, to me at least. And I don't know how I feel about the design there. So I'm going to have to rate that in the B tiers, but still somewhat better than some of the other ones we've had in B tier. Now, 1977, if I'm remembering, That might be some of the older comic books ones, I think. I don't know, but from the picture I'm seeing down there, it looks it. And I'm gonna have to go with, that's probably, B. Because definitely, since it's a green dinosaur-like thing, I like that look on a Godzilla, to be honest. I don't think it looks bad. I mean, it doesn't look like some of the other ones I think could be like S-tier designs, but I still think it is an actual good design, and I think they could keep it up with some more like cartoony Godzillas. I think that looks pretty good. Now, Hanna-Barbera Godzilla is around similar range. I think that Godzilla is actually decent looking, even so it looks like a big dinosaur. That kind of is. I think what they're going for. I still think it's very similar. The other one might be a tad bit better, but overall, I mean, I think their designs are actually pretty good. So, yeah. 84 Goji from 1984. I think this is an S. It's a long, no, not an S, sorry, an A. I think this is an A tier because it is kind of tied. I think it looks a lot like the original, so I think it's tied right now with the original. And I think they put more thought into that, and they kind of broke away from the really corny Showa Godzilla films. So I kind of like that. And yeah, I think that's a better design for Godzilla. Next, we have Bio Goji, who fight Valiante in 1989. Now, this design, I will say, might be our first S tier. Just because I think they did a pretty good job design. No, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. I think that it's probably the best A tier. So it's really close to being an S tier, but I think later on, some of the more Heisei things might be a little bit better. I think they're still kind of trying to find in that, like, what they really, really want for Heisei, and they later find that, and I think that's an S tier. Like, next, we have 1972. I think that right there is, like, an S tier. Is if you look at the eyes are bigger, I think that's a good one. The head is a little bit shortened down. I think it looks a little different. It looks a little bit cleaner, better. And I think that design is definitely an S tier, 1992. I think that is one of the best designs in all of Godzilla right there that you're looking at. So that has to be S because we're looking at designs. 1993, that's the exact same. 1994 even looks maybe even a tad better. In 1995, you only have the burning effects, but it is the same. And that's going to have to go... Wait, I picked 1998. Sorry. Wait, no, wrong one. Zilla goes back. We're not at there yet, but 1995, that is the best so far that we've seen on the S tier. There might be more that are S tier designs, but right now that's top. 1998 Zilla design. This one makes me think, because I do actually like the design a lot, but I don't know if I want to be an S tier, so I'm probably going to put it right here behind the original in A tier. I think they did a good job, even so many people might not like it. The TriStar Godzilla era, I think, is pretty good. This one, the cartoon one, is right behind it. It's just a cartoon, so a little bit less detail and stuff, but it's still made off of the same design. So I like that one also a lot, along with regular Zilla. So those two designs are, in my opinion, in A tier. I know many people might not agree, but I do like that choice. Now we are at 1999. In other words, Godzilla 2000. I think that design is pretty good. I know many people are gonna say that's the best design in the entire Godzilla franchise, and that's the best thing I've ever seen my entire life. I think it's a good old A, around tight, slightly better maybe than the original. I think it is pretty good, but something about it to me just makes it look, I don't know, something that I don't really enjoy as much as the S tier one. So I cannot put in S tier. It's not my favorite design. There are other designs like coming up that I think are like the best of them, the best on S tier. But that's probably a really good design, and I think but something about it doesn't stick out to me. But I do know they did a good job, and it is one of the better ones that they have made in that time period in the millennial era. Now, next we have Godzilla from 2001. I don't know where I really want to rate this. I'm going to have to go around tied in A tier with Millennial Godzilla. 2000. I think 2001, they could have added a little bit more detail to it, and it would have been perfect. But I do think that is one of my favorite movies, and, but I don't think it's my favorite design particularly, but it is one of my favorite Godzillas and movies to watch. But Godzilla 2000 is pretty good, and, Godzilla 2001. GMK Goji, yeah. But that Godzilla right there is, in my opinion, pretty good. So, I'm going to rate it an A tier, around tied with Millennial Godzilla. Just Millennial Godzilla 2000, I should say. Godzilla 2000 has something in it that I think isn't really my style of designs to go into S tier, but it's still pretty good. And then, from 2001, I think they could have maybe done a slightly different design of adding more stuff on there, but I think overall that design is really good. Now, next we have from Godzilla from 2002 and 2003. Now this one I think is also around in the A tiers with the rest. It's all tied, the other two from the millennial era. I think they're most of the millennial era, I think they actually did a good design making for them. So that will have to go in still A tier, tied with all the rest. I think they're all good. And, so there we go for that. Now, Final Godzilla Final Wars from 2004. I already know where this is going. So, as we can see, Heisei Godzilla looks a lot similar to Godzilla Final Wars. I mean, we can all see that. Like, they look very similar, right? It's not just me. So I'm going to have to put that in S tier for designs. It's probably tied with most of the others that we've had so far in S tier from the Heisei era. Actually, when did I put Bio Goji from 1989 in S tier? Sorry, that meant to go in A tier. So probably around tied actually with most of the millennial era. And I'll probably move 2001 Godzilla like back here because they didn't add enough, but it is still good. Nah, never mind. I think it's tied around there. Yeah, it's probably there actually, yeah. I'm going to keep my thing like this. All right. But Godzilla Final Wars, I mean, come on, that thing's definitely going up in S tier. That is probably our best design so far, alongside with Heisei. I think those two designs are the best we have seen so far. Godzilla from 2007. So that design is, what's this Google thing? No, get out. 2007 Godzilla. Let me think here. So that I actually do like the design on that. But I'm gonna have to go tied with Godzilla 2001. They have the white eyes and stuff, and they kind of look similar in my opinion. It just the 2001 maybe is a little bit better, so maybe an A tier, like the bottom of A tier, like kind of close to B tier, but not really there yet, because it is still a good design that deserves to be an A tier, but, not the best design ever, but it is still really good, and that rating's good in A tier. Now we have 2014 Legendary Godzilla. Alright, as much as there's some things that I don't like about the design too much, I think it all blends in perfectly. The things I don't like still kind of blend into it with the rest of the things I do like, that all blend into it. And that's the wrong one. That all blend into it, being probably, again, our new best S tier. Next, we have the second form of Shin Godzilla. That thing, I definitely already know where I'm putting this. This is getting put in C tier. This is our first C. It is, I don't think it's D, because, they did a good job designing it. It's just that something about, it's just like this little floppy thing. Come on. I can't rate it any higher. It's like, come on. The big eyes and stuff. I don't think that's high enough, but, like, for example, the next design, once it's on its hind legs, I think that's somewhere in the A's. I think that's actually a good design. I think it should have been the movie Shin Godzilla, just a tad longer. They only have a few scenes with that thing in it. Like, you have 10 minutes, and half those scenes are just people talking when he's there. So I wish that version of Shin Godzilla was there longer. And then Shin Godzilla. From me looking down at the list here, I still have to go Shin Godzilla is our best design yet. And I think it'll stay the best design in this entire tier list. I think Shin Godzilla 4th Form is an awesome design. That is the best design, I think, ever, that's ever made. Because, just look at that. I just think that's a good design, and that's definitely what I like. Now, next we have Godzilla Earth, I believe. Now, Godzilla Earth, 2017 stuff. B, I think it's similar to Legendary Godzilla, but a tad worse. And I don't think that tad worse is A tier. I think it's more like B tier. So it's the best of the B tier. But I still think something about it is not my thing. So that goes down in B tier for sure. But they did a pretty good job on the design. Now, Godzilla from 2019 is Legendary Godzilla, just better. So that's going right behind Shin. So that is definitely so far the second best in the S tier. So, yeah. I just realized our S tier is actually getting pretty big, but our A tier is the biggest, obviously, and we can all see that. And then C and D tier are the smallest. Now, next up, we have Godzilla 2019, Snow Godzilla. So, Snow Godzilla is around similar to the Heisei, but a little bit less realistic. So, that's going to be A tier. That, I think, for A tier is our best A tier yet. So, that's a really good score. And, now we're on to the Godzilla Ultima thing, his different forms. And that one there, I've seen it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. And I think the design they did on that is actually really good. So I think the concept's good. I think it's not my thing on design. And I think regular Godzilla Ultima, once in its final form, is obviously going to be a little bit better. So C probably. And the next I probably rate B-ish. Probably. There it's probably right there. It's pretty good, but doesn't really look like Godzilla, but it's still pretty good. And then the next one, now we're getting looking like Godzilla, but it's still in that area. And then Godzilla Ultima's A. I mean, it's Godzilla Ultima, and I think Godzilla Ultima looks pretty good. So it's probably, yeah, right there in A tier looks good. No, switch spots there. Yeah, that looks pretty good for Ultima. I don't think it's quite an S, but I think regular Ultima is actually really good. Now, Godzilla 2022 from Godzilla versus Gigan Rex. I think that is an good design on Godzilla that will have to go in S. It is really realistic, and I think it kind of replicates Heisei. So I think that is definitely S tier, and I think that is one of the better ones probably in S tier for like that area. But yeah, Shin still stands at the best. Now Godzilla -1. I know where that's going. That's going right directly behind Shin Godzilla. That is tied with Shin Godzilla as my favorite design. I love Shin Godzilla and -1. They're my two favorite Godzillas, two favorite movies, two favorite everything. I love those two Godzillas, and yeah, they're just the best ones yet. So obviously I'm going to have to pick that thing as being there. Now, GXK 2024. So I actually would probably rate that B when it first came out. I got used to that design. So I'm going to rate that A. It's best of the A because it's still legendary, but I'm not the biggest fan. Or no, actually, you know what? S. It's at the bottom S tier, but I still think that is the best one so far. For one reason that is that in the movie it looks a lot different than all the other stuff they said about the movie. Like the scenes where he was in it in the movie and you really saw him, he actually looked more like Legendary Godzilla, regular Legendary, and I think that's good. So this is my tier list. So I think A is the biggest little area that I have going on. That is, let me just count quickly how many are in there. There are 13 things in A tier, and then in S tier there are, I believe, 11. Godzilla is in S tier. Those are second biggest, and then B tier is our third biggest with 10 in it. Then C tier has only 2. That's our fourth biggest. And D only has 1 for the frog plus trash plus dinosaur Godzilla from 1967. So this is our final tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And this was a remake of a video that I've now deleted on YouTube. Because I wasn't as good about it, or I didn't like it as much. I like this one better, this rating, and I think this one has more stuff maybe on than it. But this is my final results for the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I was just falling asleep, I think, because I'm sitting here and not moving anything, but whatever. But this is my final results for the tier list. I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.